It's important that we understand prophetic timing. Hear me, people of God, because the end is so near. And I want to speak to your faith tonight because I don't want us to give just because that's what we do. I want us to understand that this is a prophetic moment. And in just a few moments, I'm going to share some real testimonies that I got this week at the AIM convention about how God has begun already to shift people's finances. The reason why God needs to get money into the hands of the believer. Everybody that is a believer, please raise your right hand and say, I am a believer, and I must be wealthy. Please understand, everyone is not going to be rich. Everyone is not going to be rich because you can't handle the money you got now. If God gave you $5 more, you go plumb crazy. But every person that is a believer should ought to have their needs met with an overflow. You got to be in a wealthy place because God has got to get money into the hands of the believers so that we can do kingdom business so that the Son of Man can return. God is not going to make you rich so you can get another pair of red bottoms. God's not going to make you rich just so you can get a bigger house. God's going to put money in your hand because there's kingdom ministry that must be done. Please read in your own time, Deuteronomy 15 and verse 1. It says, at the end of every 7 years, thou shalt make a release. And this is the manner of the release. Every creditor that lendeth aught unto his neighbor shall release it. He shall not exact or collect it of his neighbor or of his brother, because it is called the Lord's release. Somebody shout the Lord's release. Brothers and sisters, when the children of Israel came out of Egypt, God gave them a promise. And when they came into the promise, God told them, what I need you to do is sanctify the land. Every 7 years will be a year of Sabbath. Every 7 Sabbaths, 49 years. On that 50th year, you're going to call it a Jubilee. And that Jubilee will be a release. But in Deuteronomy, God takes that release that really happens once every generation and says, I'm going to do it for you every 7 years. And at the end of the 7th year, brothers and sisters, God says, I'm going to give you a release for 15 people that are prophetic on a Wednesday night. You'll catch this. That means everything that's owed to you in this season, God's about to release it into your hands. I see hands going up, but your mouth is closed. This is a word activated, a voice activated word, which means you got to activate it with your voice. I said everything that's owed to you in this season, God's about to put it back in your hands. Let me see if I can get 22 people that are praising tithers to shout on this one. This is the season that all debts are getting ready to be canceled. I'm going to try that one again for every praising tither who's been given while broke, who's been tithing while frustrated. God said, this is the season I'm about to cancel debt over your life. Deuteronomy 15 says that the release will happen at the end of the 7th year, which means if the release happens at the end of the 7th year, I see the results of the release in the 8th year. We are in 2018. The release happens at the end of the 7th year, which means if it happens at the end of the 7th year, I see the results or reap the benefits of it in the 8th year, in the year 2018. If the release happens at the end of the 7th year, God told me 3 months ago, my son, my people are asking for financial and wealth transfer. He said, tell them the transfer has already happened. They just don't know it yet. It happened at the end of the 7th year, which means in the 8th year, we're getting ready to see the benefits of it. Monday night, we were walking out after service, talking to my president, Bishop Hankerson, and 2 individuals stopped me. There was a man on a scooter. I don't know if he's here. If you're here, just make me know where you are. He told me that he's a member of Bishop Withers' jurisdiction. We're in Bishop Withers' jurisdiction for his convocation, and the Lord told us to challenge his people with a certain amount of money. And God told me that he was getting ready to reverse debt and release supernatural money. The man pulled up in this scooter on Monday night and said, can I talk to you? I said, absolutely. He said, I was with Bishop Withers and I gave what you instructed us to give. He said, when I got back to my house, he said, you told me that by the time I got home, there was going to be there waiting for me. He said, when I got home, there was a settlement for $59,000. Is Bishop Withers up here? He's not up here. There was a lady who's staying in the same hotel I'm in, and I told her I was going to tell this testimony. She's from Syracuse, New York. Are you here? There they are. God don't lie. I'm walking because I'm late for a service, and these kids stop me. That's Prophet Sprewell. That's Prophet Sprewell. I'm rushing trying to get on the elevators because the elevators in the West End are terrible. We talk about that later. They're terrible. And so the lady says, no, I need to talk to you. I said, yes, ma'am, what's going on? She said, I was in Syracuse, New York when you were in revival with the Reeds, and you talked about financial shifts and all that kind of stuff. She said, when I got home, and whichever one of you are, stand up so I can see you. Don't be shy now. Is that your mama? Your mama told you to stand up, huh? Yes, your grandma, is she with you? Okay, well, y'all tell me if I'm telling a lie, all right? If I'm lying, just start screaming, and they know I'm lying, and they're going to come take the mic. They told me that when they got back home, that the mama, grandma, whoever it was, got a settlement. There was some incident or something that she was involved in, and they were trying to hold it up. They had denied it at first, but then they came back after she came to the revival, and the settlement came through for $47,000. Am I telling the truth? All right. I was with Bishop Darrell Hines in his church for a revival early in the year, and at the end of the revival that last night, God told me to announce supernatural deposits. We're getting ready to hit bank accounts before the night is over. I'm talking because I need your faith to raise, because what we're getting ready to do is not just to get ready to give away money. We're getting ready to plant into the greatest season of our lives. Last night of the revival in Milwaukee, received the offering. We're done. I'm going to the office. The adjutant comes in the back and says, Elder Sprewell, Bishop wants you back in the sanctuary. Bishop is here. If I'm lying, you can tell the whole church I'm lying. He told me I can tell this testimony wherever I went. So I put on my little shirt, came back in the sanctuary. The church was in an uproar. There was a mother in the middle section dancing, and Bishop said, I just wanted you to hear this, that she was in the service tonight. Now, this is the last night of the revival. Banks are closed. She said tonight she checked her account, and it was $5,000 that hit her account while we were in service. Bishop Hines is saying I'm telling the truth. Look at your neighbor and tell him you just entered the greatest season of your life. Now, if your neighbor is sitting there looking bad and bougie, let them stay broke the rest of the year. Find somebody that look like God's getting ready not just to pay their bills, but bless them to pay someone else's bill, and tell them you just entered the greatest season of your life. If your neighbor look like they don't need no money, all their bills are paid, they got more than enough, find somebody that look like a recipient of what God is getting ready to do tonight, and tell them welcome to the greatest season of your life. Bishop Blake, I told God that I want my inheritance. And I know y'all been looking at me funny since I showed up in Kojic some 20-some odd years ago. I'm part Japanese, that's why I look like I look. Don't hate, congratulate. And it's very rare, and I hope this isn't offensive, but it's very rare you find broke, unemployed Asian people. And I told God, if my Asian side is rich, I want to be rich too. God's getting ready to release, hear me, church, finances into the hands of the believers, because you've been faithful, you've been consistent, and this is the season of the Lord's release. I'm getting ready to challenge everyone in this room to plant a seed in the greatest season of your life. This is not an offering. This is not an assessment. This is not another report. This is a seed into the greatest season of your life. Believe in the Lord thy God, so shall you be established. Believe his prophet, and so shall you prosper. You all already know my story. It was 10 years ago, 2008, which was the brokest year of my life. So broke I couldn't pay attention. That sounds like a corny joke, but it's hard to concentrate when you ain't got no money, mother. 10 years ago, sitting in the back of a storefront Baptist church where I didn't know anyone, God challenged me with the largest seed I had ever heard him challenge me with at that time. Told me to write a check for $1,000. You've heard this story. I've told it all over the country. I argued with God for 5 minutes. I said, God, I don't know these people. I don't know what they're going to do with my money. He said, ain't none of your business what they do with your money. After arguing with God, I said, God, I don't even have $1,000. He said, if you write the check, I'll make it clear. After arguing with God, I wrote the check, threw it at the altar, and left. I was so mad I didn't stay for benediction. The realest preacher you'll ever meet. A few weeks later, I'm in the grocery store, and God said, son, praise me in this store. I said, absolutely not. If I get arrested, I ain't even got bail money. He said, "You remember that seed you sown that wasn't good?" I said, "Yeah, I'm mad because you let the check cash. Now I got overdraft fees." He said, "If you call the bank, they'll reverse it. I'll tell you that other part some other time." He said, "If you praise me in the store, I'll give you a harvest on a seed that wasn't